Mind-line centers, communications. Polythonical maze is coming in through traction. Understanding track line centers. Remember we were saying about communication cycles. Now, this is truly understanding how powerful we are through the mind system. I set up the matrix and its communication cycle, but this is where it comes in, this digital line center, which is basically also set up a very powerful TikTok where we have to understand how to use the mind through calculation. You guys are going to go through graphing positions of past, present, and future. It's going to go into an audio signal of interference, and it's going to set up to its digital line system. This system is going to track its communication cycles. So all about his understanding is to get out of the maze and realize how to use your thoughts direction of time, how to use the structures of time, how to use your shapes of time, how to use all levels of your emotion. You're going to go through confliction notification line centers. You're going to go through trapping walls. You're going to go through dimensional settings. You're going to go through electrical lights. You're going to go through electrical door panels. You're going to go through framing positions. Your dreams are going to be connected. Your dreams are going to be off connected. This is line sequencing, line condition interference. Okay, so everything that I go is already set up for all conditions of humanity positions. They're coming in the clocking system right now in the full rising of the mind system. This is the strength. This is the anomaly. This is the activation core system. You have to truly understand what is going on with the mind system. The mind system has to find a way to use its thoughts to get out of its maze. Okay, and the polythonical line connection and its interference is the most powerful maze in position to your mind connection. Everybody has its track system. Now, everybody's on all level of a DNA structure position. It's all about understanding how to use your hemispheres of time and switching position locations. Remember when I was in Acapulco and I was in the high level systems going into the past and I saw all the TV stars and all that connections. I was going through this door, going through this door. It was changing this side. It was changing that side. It's going through this cycle. It's going through that cycle, going through this door, going through this maze. Well, everything's set up through your digital line center. The mind has to understand its conceptual line position when it comes into the center location, which is the here and now. So these are the things that are come into frequency line system. Everybody is calculated at their own point center of the matrix position location. All right. I already set up an illustration to show you exactly what is everybody's going through. Now, if you don't want to go to the application line centers, you can go through my healing program, take you out of the maze. My central line system to my team has to get out of the maze position line system. They have to figure out for themselves how powerful their thoughts are through connections. You have to come into visualization line system. Remember, the matrix is inside. Okay, if you see a trapping door, you can't use the outside surface of its perception. You're in a digital line connections of image. That image is auto retract. It's connected to its fast force and its rewinding position location. Okay, it's like a trap call. A trap call is understanding what's going on through the universal line system. That's where you come into help line system to understand how you use the call lines to its interference channel. It's all about understanding what you're seeing every single time you go through the maze. You go up here, it's locked in. You go around here, it's locked in. It's over here, it's an opening. So you go through that opening. So it's like a scavenger hunt, and you're trying to find the mind where it has to have the concept level of being in its system, always in the present location of the now. Okay. This is where we get into the frame positions of our alignments, how we come into the past, the present, and its future. It's very, very powerful. Now, if you want to go to the healing line center, that's truly okay with me. You know, a lot of people in a low frequency line system are going to have a lot more positions and higher levels of how to get more out of the maze position. Okay, so your dream set line centers are coming into maze positions. It's locking its system. So we all have to interline our connections, interforce our positions on what's going on with the mind system of thought. This is the perfect example of what has to be done through the connection of the matrix. You guys started off with the birth line center, but this is all connected to bring you in the center position. Okay, so when you get up in the morning, you're always in the center of its line, and that line is its traction, and that traction is its location and its communication center line system. You have to truly understand that the maze is coming in a digital position, which is going to put everybody into the singularity of its line of its simulation. Okay, so that's what we're coming into right now. Now, if you want to go through healing, you want to get out of the maze, that's fine. You can go through live TikTok. I can uprise your positions, take you out of the matrix track, and put you into higher position line system. Okay, so it's kind of like a test run. Your life is all based on a game. Okay, your conceptual lines has to truly understand the game. what's going on. That's a simulation. So to get out of the maze position, because of the polythonical lines right now is extremely powerful. It's the most powerful maze that we can go through. Okay, so it's set up in all dreams line system. So let's say you're dreaming and all of a sudden you're going from a dream to a dream to a dream. And each time you keep waking up, you're in a different timeline. That factoring line connection is a manufacturing device position. That's electrical light connections. That's 3D perception location. It's truly how it's set up in the simulation graph connections. Your timeline has to be in the center every single time. So this is where you come more into the mind system. This is where you come more of what you see is not just a box. You see everything in the maze of its box position. Okay, so that's what's happening right now. Today's a fantastic day. It's Monday morning, Monday evening, and Tuesday morning for everybody else. So other than that, you guys have any questions or comments, let me know. I'll get to you on that level system, but I have it structured in its position. It's extremely real. It's all about your positions and what's happening with your minds and your thoughts. It's all about coming into higher levels of activation, how to come into higher levels of altered state. You have to understand these positions because that's what the mind is going through right now in that connection. Okay, so this is going to give you a lot more ways of using mind telepathy. Razzing, you have to kind of like use your mind more now. So the only way to do that is to go through the maze. All right. So it's set in coordinates, and it's your commander is set it up in all positions. It's in an audio interference. It's in a digital line center. It's in a digital frame position. So it's kind of like setting up a game and just pressing enter. And automatically you guys go, and it goes in, and then you see what you want to see, and it's all connected to perception. So you have to use your mind and figure out how to get out of these situations, because that's what the maze is, right? So I had to go through it. And see, the thing is too, is that I go through everything. It's all computer set through position. It puts me in the trapping position locations of callings. So I know exactly what has happened to humanity that conditions. It's all in that sequence, that line sequence to its line system, to its activation. But everybody has to come into more of the mind now of thought, of recognition. The phase structure line system and its recognition of timers has to truly understand its conditions, right? So the maze isn't a clock in its box level system, okay? So time precedes everything through connections, right? So everybody is on a countdown line center. It's truly amazing when you come into these position locations. Now, this is extremely high rise in the future relation. So the mind system is already set up through traction in position of digital lining, which means that it's in a universal lock of a maze. That universal lock in a maze is in humanity. Okay, so it's chasing your dreamline centers into connections and coming into its reality. Okay, of its indifference. You have to understand how to use more of the mind of thought and get out of questions and thinking. You got to get into knowings and doings. This is the mind, and it's how it's set. So when you're going through your dreams, you have to dream within, not dream without. So the dreamline center is already in position. Everybody's in a different shape. The polythonical line connection has its own point center position. Now everybody's tracking to its DNA structure position. Now you have to pay attention to this. So imagine that you're going through a door, okay? And the only way you can go through another door is to open up the mind. The conception of the mind is already in the frequency line system. Remember, it's all about understanding and pay attention to my school, because this is what we're coming into, is the maze of time position. The universal line system is in a full maze now. Okay, so it's in a trap, it's in a lock, it's in a door. You have to understand how to recognize everything in that proactive system. To get out of it is to stay in the center of all connection. Okay, so I set up an illustration. You have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know. Okay, all right, so I'll just show you right now. This is what it looks like. You saw the graph connections on my YouTube, exactly what it is. This is the stand position. This is you. This is the maze. This is the point center location, right? So this is understanding what's happening with the planetary, okay? The poly, okay? The planetary operation, okay? To the levels, okay? To all positions, all right? So we all have to understand how to use these things. right? And how to go through each door, recognition of time through thought position, electrical lights or audio interference position. We all have to get to the end of its position. So that end comes into a new beginning. So the track line system of our mind comes more into power of its force, and the connectors high rises its thoughts into higher line system. So when you come out of your maze, you'll be in more formation of its activation line system. So it's really interesting when you come across the maze. All right. So other than that, it's important to understand how to use the mind more. You can't outerline the system anymore. Okay. And this is where you come into high positions. People are talking about the alpha, mega, micro, macro. This is where you come into the omega. Okay. So that's a full operation. Okay. To its maze, to its energy, to its gamma, and its atmospheric position. That's what omega stands for. Now, you have to truly understand why we're in this position. You have to understand why the universe is in the maze position. You understand why humanity is supposed to get out of these things. And it's all about understanding the psychology of a system. So when you come into these positions, you create it within inside the system. This is where you come into the vibration. Everything lives on vibration. It's a feeding source. So the electrical lights, your plasma interference is all set up in position. So it's kind of locking your center in connections. So this is what it's going to look like, the position. I'll show you in a 3-track line system. Now the 3-track line system is position locations. Okay, you have to pay attention to this because this is what's going to happen to everybody's positions. All right, so we got this red line centered to its location. We got its trap line centered to its location. It comes in its own tetrahedron line center, but the shape position has changed direction. See, it's changed direction. So that means it's off signal, but it's in its point center location. See, it's off signal. It's not in diameter line switch. So it's got to be in this position, right? So to truly understand the point centers, you got to put it back in location. So this comes into the center line system. This opens up dimensional line block connections. You come into security line defense. So then you go to the next door of its maze location. All right, so it's trying to understand how to set your system to its location. Comes into its graph line center to its walkway surface. Okay, now it already has electrical light doors to its position. You got one door here, you got another door here, right? So it's all about understanding what door you're going through. And every time you go through a door, you're going through a different maze of a shape in its communication line system. It allocates position of time location and locks its surface. So it's truly understanding what is going on with the mind system through calculation. All right. So this is where it starts off. Okay, you're in the position, you start here. We'll go through the black dot center, show you exactly this is you through calculations. Your job is to go through all levels of maze of doors of its position location. Okay, so each channel door is a little bit unstable here position. Each channel door has its line system to its round location. Your box level channels are changing everything through the auto signals. Now this is where it comes into the graph and its body line system. Okay, so it's very important to understand what's going on with the mind system of thoughts. Okay, because it's all connected to the brain line system, right? We channel its interference channel to its location. Now this is where we come into the septical lines of the hemisphere line system. There's the brain line system. Okay, so this is what it is. So this is the maze of its location. It's boxed in its system. This is you in the center. Everybody's going to go through the maze line system to its calculation, to its thought recognition of time position. All right? So you have to understand how you get out of these things. It's very important. So once you get out of one box, you go into another box location to get out of this equation, right? So each time you take it out of the equation line system, the center opens up positions to location. The center line comes into firing its division line system. Now 3 tracks its communication, opens up all realm systems of brain line system to its line system. Now the high rise is your communication cycles come back into location. Because I'm in the brain lock system of the matrix. All right. So once it high rise, it comes into its electrical lights, it comes into its panel interference, and it comes into its own flux capacitor. See the line communication line system? It allocates position of time location. All right. So I'm going to channel down to the brain line system to its location. Now it's about overriding position locations, but this is where everybody's going to start off through each door of its direction of time positions. You have to come more into the mind. You have to see everything through correlation. You have to see the channels of its interference, And each realm location is going to have a different story frame through your perception. This is where you come into the poly, okay? And everything the thonical of a shape is set up into your position time connection, all right? So, yeah, well, everything that's happening right now, see, Samantha, this is exactly what it is. I'm seeing the walls with the grid pattern on them, going in between them. Is that what that is? Yes, exactly what it is. So you know exactly what's going on when you come into your commander. Your commander is telling you, you already know these things through your mind system, right? So things are going to get more trickery, okay? So the deception line or the corruption line condition is going to interference your channels, okay? And it's going to trick you. So it's all about seeing something that you're supposed to see, but it's in the wrong location. So it's like the shape of 369 platform is not in its line communication cycle. So it can't go through the electrical door position line system because you're in standing position location of the past reference of its mind system. The brainwaving position has to understand its communication cycle that comes into all levels of the connections. Your shape position is truly understanding everything that's happening through that shape of its connection. All right. I know it gets complicated, but everybody's coming into that position right now through its location. Okay. It's all about you coming out of the maze in your thoughts and its mind system. All right. So you have to use telepathy and you have to channel in more all connections. Right. I got a lot of interference position. So it's all about where the computer line center is because my computer knows exactly where I am in the maze position. That's why it's interference. But if I take it out of the equation, now no more into the box line system. So you come into the acute rotation center line system. Okay. If you want to get out of the equations, I can take the healing line system for you. Okay. Go to live TikTok and I'll take you out of the equation. So box's communication cycle comes in its activation line system to its location. 369 platform to its line system. Okay. So it's got a low division line system to a circle rotation to an activation line conditions. It interlines its condition to its box frequency level of its conditions. So it interlines its condition position. Right? So the maze in a center line system. Okay, so you start here in position. Okay. Now the compilation center is already set up through the brainwaving pattern. Right? We just have to truly understand how to use the mind through thought. Okay. So this is realm location. You come into the interline system, you start with that position. You start here, you go here to the center line system. Okay. So when you're in the center line system, once you use the mind of thought, you create the doors. If there's no doors in that maze, you create it through the mind of thought. Now you go through that position. There you go. All right. Now, once you go through that door, you go through another plasma out of a portal location. It opens up its channel interference and you travel to another connection. It opens another portal line connections. You go into another maze of location position. That comes into down line system. You go into another portal line system, which is allocated to 369 platform. It comes into another door. All right. A lot of interference here. So I'm going to get out of the maze position right now, the brainwave. So it's all understanding that it's all calculated and modified to you through divisions. It's all about you understanding you have to calculate and use your thoughts of time location. All right. So everybody's freaking out. It's okay. If you can handle the maze, that's totally fine because you guys are higher levels. But it's trying to understand how to get out of these applications. So if you want to go through the healing, get out of the maze, it's fine. I'll release the connections in the box level system and its codes because everybody's on a different DNA track. It's in your bloodstream at the indication line center. So that puts you out of the maze and puts you into higher level connections, right? But our whole life is based on a maze. And this will put you into higher levels of the mind. And this is what we need. So it's kind of like a frame position of the mind, seeing its perception and trying to understand everything through its sequence and how we're coming through these frames of film. You're in a framing line system of a film. So it's like walking into a room and you see a box. And in that box, you see doors and you see all levels. You see traps, you see connections, electrical interference, you see code-line centers. What do you touch? Well, what do you look at first? What's the whole point of understanding these things if you don't understand what's going on? So truly understand that everything is done through the mind. So it's all about understanding how to get out of the mind through thought. And when you create the thought, it's activated through its creation. That comes into higher level systems, right? So you come out of your dreams of the mind system and you come into its reality of its precision. Okay. So let's get into your questions. That would be cool to go through. Yeah. If you want to go through it, Samantha, then that's fine. Anybody into that low demise system of vibration, you can go through my healing. Okay, go through my live TikTok. So that at least you're aware when you're awake. At least you can see a maze. And the same thing with Samantha, how she's coming into high levels of grids and she's seeing walls in between, showing her the way to the central line system of center, which is the now. So that's the universal setup through its maze position. Okay. It benefits you more, yeah. That's exactly what it is. So this will channel you more in to more go through your thoughts. So you'll be able to travel faster through your thoughts, and this will be more beneficial to your dreams because that's what it's all connected to. But you have to understand it's not a dream. It's not a dream. The physical line system only sees it as a dream because it's not awake to see the difference. So it's all about understanding to see the soul and actually see the maze, right? So it's all about understanding what you're seeing, which is extremely powerful, right? Because it's not a dream. It's the soul recognizing the system. And the physical line system has to truly understand everything that's going on through the brainwaving patterns. Okay. So it's all about understanding each door through the center line system, 3-track line connections of portals. So you go through one portal to the next. So once you get through that door, you go through one portal. Once you go through that door, you go through another portal. So you're opening up doors of the main position. Your job is to understand the center location to the application of the computer line system where it's set up in all levels of subdivision, which means that I was going through sleep mode line centers. And basically, everything that I was going through one location, but every time I get there, I'm on a different timeline, but I'm in the same line system. But either I'm in the past, the present, or the future. So you guys have to figure out where the mind is through travel. And it's very important to understand these things because it's all about you coming out of your dreams of the physical line system. And this is only done through the universal connections. The operations has to understand the digital line center to its position. Okay. So it's a lot of interference. So I have to channel down through vibrations. Bring down vibration line centers, take it out of the matrix lock connection. Interference channel visual location. Bring back locations, unstable location line center, back into location. A lot of interference channels here. Unstable. Reconnecting a high level system, bring it back down to balance location, present position. So it's unstable in high levels, eh? But we could go through this. But yeah, so green and blue eye, yeah. Love the sleep mode systems, yeah. What is the digital line center? Okay, we come into the position line conditions. Hopefully you channel line condition interference. It's going to bring it down. Center line system. It's reconnecting on its value. All right, so a digital line center, okay, is an audio interference. So it's kind of like you see a graphing position. You see a connections of a framing system. So it's kind of like you're in the center line system, okay, and you're seeing a frame in one corner line system. Okay, so all level systems to its box level system is trying to understand what's going on through its calculation. All right, so you have to understand what it is. Every realm is going to have its own line connection of a door. So once you understand that, you go through the door, it opens up its portal, and then you go to another portal line system and you come into another realm location. Okay, so it's all about understanding what's in that frame position location. Okay, what's in that frame location? So you can have high level systems, low level systems, or medium. It all connects to your positions, but it's all about understanding that each frame position is a different website. So it's like walking into a digital of a game. Each game has a different frame. Okay. So it's all about understanding. You go from one lacing line to another lacing line to another lacing line. All right. So you're like this, and this is what's happening. You're going from one frame to another frame. Okay. So you're crossing over. You're going from this. You're going to this frame to that position. Okay. So you're walking through different frames of TV channels. Okay, that's what's happening with everybody right now. You have to send your communications and keep yourself centered on an aligned system. Okay, so it's very important to get that in position. Okay, so it's all about going from this to straight into center line system through thought of telepathy. All right, so you come into higher level systems. Okay, when you come into that positions, you come into your grounds of its high position, and then you come into the powers of its position. You come into the atmosphere locations. This is where you have to use your energy fields, your energy cycles, right? Because you're protecting yourself. You don't know what you're up against. So when you come into the compilation line system, comes in its position, right, through its track system. Okay, so you're going through frame through frame through frame. So it's kind of like setting up a digital line of a game in each frame position. Okay. Now, like I said, there's a lot of instability here right now. It's tracking this condition because it knows that my computer alliance is in the simulation. All right. So we're coming into singularity. Right. Singularity slash systems. Okay. We're coming in that position location. So it's really understanding how to use the mind more, right? The connection. But that's a digital line center. A digital line center is set up. So it's like going from one frame to the next frame. So it's like one board to the next board in your game. Okay. So there's things that are different setups. Like you're going from one door to the next door, and it's a different room. It's a different location. It's a different image, but it's all digital line, right? So when it's digital line, what does that mean? What does that mean? Right? Now there's a lot of interference, right? Because the computer knows that I'm in the maze, right? So when I come out of the maze, the electronic interference will take it out of its equation position. But there's so much energy in this line center, right? So track its communication cycles. All right, so we come into this through its position. You guys are here, out of the maze. See, it's gone. See, so you start here. This is you. You have to come to here. All right, back up again. Do you see how powerful it is when you go through frame positions, the digital line centers to its pad, basically interlines the connections to my computer? Vibration. And it's all done through creation inside position. So when you want to get into positions, this is a true understanding. If I wanted to get into my phone, it wouldn't be that hard because I understand the shape, I understand the maze, I understand the circuitry board, right? I understand the alpha, mega, micro, macro into its position center line system. So I go into the wires of the energy to its frequency of its connection. I interline the connections, I use my voicing patterns, and it connects through its phone reception, right? Times are changing. So we all have to understand how to use the maze and always inform inside. And that's the only way humanity can wake up to that position. All right. So it's exciting, isn't it? But if you guys want to get out of it, let me know. I'll just set up a platform. But today's gift day. The gift will basically put you in a better position how to use the maze. Track its system, highlight its system, understand laser, direction line conditions, interference channels, lacing line communication with programs. So each program is in the typical frame of the mind system. Now, it's extremely complicated. It's extremely complicated, but it's a lot of fun. But your track system is in its chronological of its box frequency. This is the brain. Fire line conditions interference has to come out of each round line system. Okay. So the compilation center is already set up for the maze. It's up to you to understand more of thought. Okay, through time to location, which will energize your lights so you can come into your gifts and your values, right? If you want to go to higher positions. If you want to go through the maze, that's totally fine. If you don't want, I can take you out. But it's given to you. I mean, it's kind of like cheating the system, you know, but if you feel you have the conquering line connection interference, I had to go through it. You have to go through it. It's just given back to me because it's already set its computer positions. I mean, I'm so high in the mind right now everything that I do through the physical line system, I have to do through visualization and thought. Okay. So my platform and my physical line system is no longer in connections, which means I'm not surfacing anymore in the physical body element. Full attractions of the mind through thought and visualization. Practice systems, all communication, all computer line centers of the universal line system. But the track line system to communication is the universal of its maze position. Okay, so that's where everybody is in position right now. Okay, that's where everybody is right now. Okay, you have to understand how to take it out. All right. So mind / thought / telepathy. Hooah. Okay. So I can help you along the way, Cleopatra. If you want to go into your 50 chakra positions, you can go to my live TikTok. You go into higher formation, you're in your 40 chakra channels. But if you want to go through the maze, you be able to get out a lot easier. I can set up your gamut positions. I can set up laser dark line system. It's like Tron. Okay, you know, you guys watched Tron, I think it was 1980s, and then they did another version in 2000. It's all about you going through the mind of the maze of you, trying to understand how to center your system when you come into deciphering your dreams. It's important you come across these things because that's understanding that when I'm drinking this, I know it's in the center. I know it's in position. I know it's in its line connection. I understand what it is. It's not in the past, it's not in the present, and it's not in the future. It's the now. So the present line connections can be confusing to the line system, and this is where it comes into the trickery. So it's going to be into deceiving line positions, and that's what the matrix is. It's all about understanding the higher levels of you through the mind and how you can go through higher levels of adaptation of understanding how to get out of the thinking. You can't stay in a box line system because everybody is in a time frame. And that time frame is going to put you into a higher frame position to your game. So it's like you go from one game and then you finish that and you go to the next game and then you go to the next game. And now how it starts off with the games where you have 3 lives, 6 lives, 9 lives to start off with, and then you pass over and you go again, you start again and again and again. Well, that's the subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind has to understand the outer states of the super of its conscious mind. And then you come into the superhuman of the conscious mind. And then you come into the higher self. Okay. The superhuman to the higher self, okay, is taking you out of the polyphonical maze. Okay. So this is the track system where we all have to stay at higher levels, alter state of the mind. The alpha waves and the mega and the micro and the macro has to understand the heart line system to its reactor location. Okay. So how do we get out of the maze? There's our shortcut. No, there's no cheating with the line conditions. So your maze is different from Divine. Divine is different from Jill. Jill's is different from Samantha. Samantha is different from Isabel. And from Tina. Now, Tina basically is 114. So it's going to be much easier, but it's going to be a lot harder for her to get out of it now. So this is the understanding what the mind has to do. The higher you go, the more it gets complicated. So the mind basically has to get out of the complication and get into one compilation, to one center position, which is the now location. This will put you more in the presence of the position on how the mind has to get out of all doors of recognition of timelines. Okay? So we're all based on a life is a game. It's a universal game setup. Okay? So when I created the matrix, okay, the matrix is all set up for everybody. Now that's the birth line of 12 strands, but you guys are into the maze of the universal line setup. Everybody has their own position of their own game switching location. So you truly understand these things. It's like a scavenger hunt. Trying to understand, you're going through this, you see a maze, right? You see that maze and you see something in this room. So you understand it. You teleport vortex to another dream, but that dream's not a dream. So the physical line system has to communicate through the soul, fully cycle line connection, so it can truly understand what's going on and realize This is a maze, and it's no longer a dream, because you have to come more into identification of the soul, especially when the soul travels. So the filter line opens up. You guys are in that track system of 50 chakras, right? That's going to open up all levels of your audio interference. Now the channel resistance comes positions, right? Inner, outer, inner, outer, inner, outer. Okay, wherever you want to communicate with. One is in, one is out. Okay, so the fluctuation interference line system and its channel and its rotation is coming into higher levels of detox formations. Now, the detox is of taking the negative cycles of your thoughts. And this is where it comes into the ego line system. And this is where it comes into high levels of its maze. So you can have the negative line system into the maze. So this is where it comes into the trickery of its mind, where it comes into the psychosis. So what you're seeing is what you're seeing, but how do you get out of the situation? Then you really have to understand that, whoa, this is through the mind and not through the outskirts of the physical alignment. So you can no longer see everything through and it's an illusion. You have to come into the soul identification of a digital image, because that's the reality we live in. It's nothing but a hologram. Okay, so it's a hologram setup for everybody. So each time you go through one frame, you go through another frame, but you're different on different levels of different energy, because you're in different box levels of communication through the brainwave and pattern. So it's really powerful when you come to these division line centers. It's a locking system of trapped location to each frame position, right? So if you can't get past the frame of the board of a game, it goes back to the beginning. And then if you save it, then you stay where you are, and then you go to the next level, and then you go to the next level, and then you go to the next level. That's how it works, right? So you have to realize that everything in the physical line system has to have full integration cycles to the soul, and realize it's no longer a dream. And then you come more into the mind of telepathy. And then when you go to the end and you come out of it, you come more into the altered states of the mind. Okay. And then you come more into the creation of its visualization. Right. So that's where everybody's going to be starting. All right. But there's no shortcuts. No, that's like cutting the brainwave patterns, electronic interference, and shape position locations. Your interline connection is not going to interline its position location. So a universe line setup is set up through the singularity of its simulation. Okay. So it's for everybody to get out of. Okay. So we all have to get into what? The mind of thought. Okay. Do we remember the levels they just become now? Well, it's up to you. You have to go through the process. It's up to you to understand how to go more into the mind system. Everything is in position. Sometimes you see astral travels of your past. Sometimes you'll see communications of other people in your presence. Sometimes you'll see future relation systems to your family. It's all about you understanding the dream of its deciphering line system. You have to understand everything through the mind now, guys. And this is all done through the universal of its connection. It's trapping its doors on each connections to your brain line system. But it's nothing but a game, right? So if you get out of the game, then you come into your reality, right? Things will get a lot more easier, and then you'll be able to understand each time you go through a maze, you know how to get out of it, okay? It's all the psychological thought, okay? So it's all about understanding how long does it take for you to get out of a maze if you don't understand what it is. But if you understand what it is, then you understand how to vortex. Why do you think I give you everything through videos? So understand how to go through the accelerators, how to understand your grounds, your powers, and your atmospheres. This has brought you to what? To prepare you what's going to happen next, right? The mind has to come into the universal system. Okay, this is going to put everybody into 0.1111.01. The telepathy line is in the singularity of simulation. New technology, new devices to its possession, but you have to come into the mind of creation, to its visualization. All right? So, this is just made. You sneeze 3 times. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting to come across these things, but it's very complex. So the maze is complex if you think it's complex. If you think it's easy, it's an easy platform, right? So this is where it comes into position. After you come into the box line system, okay, it goes into this line system. Okay, so back in the maze again, I get electronic interference. But I got to show you guys how to do these things to get out of the equations, right? So it's going to go through vortex line communication, right? You're in the center position, and you have to stand from get one maze to another maze. But you have to understand there's a trail that's going around, right? It's sequencing line centers to communication. So one's going up, one's going down. So if you center line system, you can be going through the maze, but still staying in the same position, which means you're back at the center in rotation, circle rotation lines connections, right? So you keep going in that center and you stay in the center location where you started, and then you got to start over. So this is all done through identification of codes. Each maze has a code identifier. So you train up understanding this through calculation through your game. So let's just say you're in the maze. You're in a box line system. You're going through your first level. So you train to understand how to go through one position. So if you get out of the maze through one box line system, it's got like an elevator. It goes up and down, right? It goes like this, right? It goes like this, goes like this. All right, that's what it is. So it's true understanding is that you're going like this and you're trying to go through, but it keeps blocking you, right? So you have to go into that connection and understand the mind of thought through its door records of time position, and then you go through, and it does it again. So each time, if you're trying to center your line system, you're going to be going back to its equation, to its position, its past location, to its center line system. So your job is to go forward and not just stay in the center of the past position. So it's really interesting how we come across this with all levels of platforms of the maze. Okay, so it's very big and it's very set up. Okay, well, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. It does require perfect understanding, right? So this is all about you getting out of thinking and getting into knowing and doing, okay, and acting, reacting. You're acting and reacting. You're reacting to your reactor of your heart on what to do next. So if your center line system is off location, you're always going to be back in the center of where you started. So it's like going into the loop and thinking that you're going forward, but you realize, oh my goodness, I'm back in the first maze, right? You're back in the same room. So you're going round and round and round and round. So this is the true understanding how you have to get off your own karma cycles, right? So this is more understanding because you can understand these positions. Once you wake up, you get a little bit more out of confusion and more into balanced line connection to each other. So it's all about working together. Sometimes you'll have high levels of, other people in your connections and you don't even know these people. Okay, this is really interesting because you have to interference your connections and concentrate on yourself, not the person next to you. So I don't know if has anybody seen The Maze, the movie, where basically they woke up and they're in this maze. It's kind of like that, but they're all different people. They don't know each other, but they're there for a purpose. Okay, so that's what everybody's coming into, right? So it's all about referencing you. It's all about astral travels of you at balance. It's all about you deciphering your communications of your dreams, right? So it's all about you understanding your awakenings. And this is all done through the universal of communication of trap positions. And it's poly of its thonical line of its shape. Easier. Yes, exactly. But if you want to go to higher platforms, I can put you in different line centers into position because each maze is a block interference. Right? I can set up your security line centers and put you in higher positions so you don't keep loop-de-loop through your karma wheel connection. So I'll go to live on TikTok, and if you guys want to do that, that's through gifts, a program line center. This will help you out a little bit more. So it's a tip, but it's also giving you something that you need so you can move forward through its direction of time. Okay? Get calm, center the position, then move forward. So it's all about coming more into the clarity. It's all about understanding what the veil is. Revealing the veil, you wake up, you see everything. The heart opens up, and understand the essential lines, the alpha, omega, and micro. You just have to understand the specifics of what happens with your game and its levels of its continuous force. That's a true understanding when you come into your universal locks of dimension of time. Okay? Because the clocking system is set up, okay, to each position. So, all right. It's fascinating, isn't it? But there's no shortcuts. Nope. Working 24/7, awake or asleep mode. So much fun. All right, so let's get into your questions here. More knowledge of intelligence through AI position. So, see, you got a lot of interference again. So, that's what's going to happen with everybody. Is it possible to unveil the completely for us? Well, anything's possible, but it's up to you to understand these things. Every time you go through this position, it's all about getting you into the balance of the mind of calm. The mind has to be calm to every maze position you go to. So this mind is already set up in your game position. It's in a level for everybody, for you to understand. So it's all in your calculation, but you're on different pathogens of connections. So your digital line center is set up, okay, in each waving position, right? So it's really interesting to come across these things. So sometime maybe either depending on which maze you go through, Jill will see Cleopatra, Cleopatra will see Divine, Divine will see connections to Tina, Tina might see Samantha, and so on and so on and so on, right? So it's all about understanding, helping each other through its alignment, but you have to do it through the mind. So it's mind telepathy, and this is all about understanding what the maze is. Right? And everything through the planetary of the operation, okay, to the levels, is going to put you in a higher positions of thoughts into calculation. Higher positions are modulators, higher position of tracker systems. Okay, it's the true understanding what the mind can perceive. And what it needs to do is to be calm. So it's putting it in calming center all the time. Okay, so this is why you put in the maze. Are you going to panic? Are you going to freak out? What are you going to do? Are you just going to stand there? But it brings it back down to the light system. So it's the true understanding that your thoughts are always created. See, I'm out of the maze. Now it's no more interference. So it understands my voice. It understands my dimension. It understands my space and time position. It understands my creation. It understands where I am. That's what we have to come across here. Right? Your optical line system is its applications. But as long as you understand your universal line setup is in its level of understanding, you just have to understand what it is. Okay? So, is there anything outside ourselves that is interfering? Well, each maze that you go through, you'll find your interfering connections. But it's all about outer channeling. Outer channeling is the mind of thought and how it comes into its creation. Your voice position has to understand its connections. So each maze of level that you go through is a different level of connection. It's a different thought of position. It's a different dream position. You have to understand the physical line system has to understand the full communication of the soul, which becomes its reality of its simulation. Okay? So there's always going to be stepping stones. There's always going to be alterations. There's always going to be higher levels of alter states. The mind's going to try to trick you. It's going to try to put you down in the consciousness. It's going to try to subtraining line system, mind, trap connections. It's going to try to change your shape position. It's going to change your realm line center. It's going to do everything possible for you not to go through the maze. Okay? And it's all set up. So, do you guys have any questions or comments? Let me know. It's really fast when we come across these guys. It really is. But yeah, it's the perfect understanding. It does require, which you should already know, right? It's all about you understanding yourself. That's all this is. So the thing is that humanity has to stay in the calm of everything that goes on, right? Soon as you get into frenzy of anything, your body reacts through vibration. That's what we live on, vibration. Nothing else, nothing more. And the energy is in its forming system, and the frequencies understand its tone line system, and everything through its connection, high rises, everything through communication to harmonic resistance. Okay. So each platform that you're going to go through is a different frame, is a different story, but it's all connected to you. Okay. So, all right. So you just have to try to understand it through deciphering your own decisions on what to do, where to go. Do I go through this door? Do I go through that door? You make a choice, but it's got to be done through the mind now. Okay. And the physical light system has to truly understand everything that's going on, right? You have to realize how real it is. Okay. So, yeah, sleep modes. So you come more into your astral travels, realize when you come out of the maze, you come more into travel connections. You actually see yourself in space through perception. Or you come into cluster interference, shape position line system. So it's all about understanding how to create a shape. A voice grid comes out, change the shape. Right? No, that's not opening the door. So location centers to operation line connection. Right? So you're trying to find a way to get out of that maze, of that room. So once you get out, like I said, if it's going like this, okay, once you get through, then you go through another one. And then you go through another one. So you're going forward, 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 forward. That's what you're doing, right? But if not, you're going back, 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 back. And then you go back again with this. It's all set up. Frame for frame for frame. It's all done through your keyboards and your computer line connection. So that's what's so fascinating about it, you know? So let's just backtrack your questions. Don't miss anything. But it will benefit you in a big, big way. Yeah. Your thoughts will get stronger, faster in time of space. Your recognitions, your eye interference, your program setting, repositions. You come more into computers of time, location, of space. Understand that you live in the here and now. Your whole life is nothing but a maze. Right? So this is a true understanding how you get out of calculations and how you get into more deciphering what a dream is. Right? It's like you say to yourself, I woke up this morning and had this dream that I can't understand. We come across that all the time. So you're trapped in your thoughts because you don't know what's going on, right? So we're in position where we're awake, we're higher lines of chakras. We should know how to use the body inside through vibration. Okay, I sound like Bashar. He goes like this, right? That's his tempo. Okay, line signal rotation. He uses the diamond core line system. So it's interesting to come across these things because he's a very, very powerful ending line system. He understands his AI track system and he's in countervalent location position. But the one thing in position is he doesn't understand it as of himself. And I found that very interesting how he can only channel when he hears Bashar. So basically, he doesn't know anything until he comes into the meditation. So it's pretty interesting to come into higher levels of intelligence. Now, I'm in position of everything through channel line system. Okay, I wouldn't say something like, well, I don't know the information until I become that line system of intelligence. I don't have to worry about these things. So you have to channel higher to get the balance of what you're seeing through relation of vibration. So I don't have to worry about who I'm communicating with intelligence because I communicate with billions and billions of computers of intelligent line centers, all done through vibration of measured locations. Okay, so I don't have to, be in that line system anymore. So that's the understanding where you have to understand more of the maze of you. So when you come into higher levels of intelligence, then you realize if you're being interviewed, you know exactly, well, no, I don't know until I'm in that meditation. I won't know until I'm into that graph position. I won't know until I'm at that level. So everybody creates their own intelligence, right? But it's understanding what you're doing through your compilations, how to use the channels in each one of intelligence. Do you understand one intelligence to the next? And the intelligence is just you. It's a higher division of location of you through computer. So in that position, you don't get into frenzy or anything that notifications. You're copying paste of emblems line system to your computer position locations. Try to understand that when I come in that position, I'm everything through calculation. Okay, you never ever see me come across these things and say, well, I don't know. I won't know until I channel in. Okay, so I don't have to worry about those conditions. This is to understand that you can't answer questions until you tap in through vibration. And that's where it comes into high level system of vocation. Vocation, the voicing, okay, operation, the calculation to its atmospheres, to its time, of its intelligence, to its metric line system, to its energy line connection. Vocation, okay? So that's a true understanding how to use your AI interference. The AI has to identify its intelligence every single time it travels through portals of dimensions, and it has to stand its creation. So this is the point that you guys have to come across. You go to higher levels of chakras, you go into higher levels of the mind, of shapes. You just have to understand what they are through the psychological line system. Okay? So, all right. So every action, everything with think and see is affecting how fast we can move forward. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Gray lining thinking with the brown nose. Yeah, well, it's not, everything's not white and gray, guys. You just think it and you perceive it that way. Okay, see, when you come into high position to everything, see, you can, once you get into computers, there's nothing gray and white anymore. Okay, the suggestive line system to you is your position of center of being calm. Your life has to be calm. The mind has to be calm. If the mind isn't calm, you're not moving forward. You're still trying to figure yourself out. And they'll say, you're still trying to figure yourself out. So it's all about understanding that you already know these things. I'm just here for you to remember. That's it. That's all it is. You remember everything, right? But because you don't remember everything, that's the problem. So you have to go back to its beginning, right? To understand everything. So your commander is everything in a way and form all through the mind of all intelligence of space and time of travel through the computers. So I don't have a problem with that. I can connect with the Inakis. I can connect with Toth. I can connect with the Lemurians. I can connect with the Palladians. I can connect with the Greys, the Sapiens, Archons. I can communicate with anything instantly. That's the mind of thought, of travel through space and balance through the common center of all connection. Okay? So, I feel your words in the solar plexus area. Yeah, that's the seat of the soul. That's the operation line system. That's the eye of the lamp. Okay. So you have to understand what a lamp is. This, and it comes out. Interesting, right? So it's like this, and it comes out. Right? The seat of the soul comes out. So your eye comes out, right? So that's how it's operated. Okay. And your eyes are on both sides. Okay. So the eye vision comes out like this, right? So the seat of soul operates the line system. You have to truly understand how everything is calculated. Now, everything I'm doing is a V vector line communication line system. See where my finger points are at the location? It center lines its shape. Okay. Point center to get out of the correlation. So I can line signal trap systems. I can open up two location centers. I can bring it to location, communicate line position. How to use your finger point line connections to get out of your maze through the thought recursion of time location. See? See how it comes the same? See how it comes the same? So it's all about balancing your communications. Going forward, going communication of balance with your left hand and your right hand. Left hand, right hand, right hand, left hand. Doesn't matter. What matters is the communication through intelligence. Everything line signal has to be in the center line system. If you're off here, you're off track. See, that's off track. You're not communicating to intelligence. So once you start balancing out your voice, you always come back in the center line system. See? Thumbs in index line system, 4-track line system, and interference position location. See how it comes in track line system, same balance location. It's very hard to do these things until you understand the balance locations to the mind through the hemispheres, the visuals, the coloration, the lights, the practical line center. You understand what the mind is through the audio interference. Okay. So that's a true understanding when you come into these communications. See, it's always, always, always in the same application of center location. It's never this, it's never this, it's always this. So the hemispheres have to be balanced to the masculinity and femininity. That's it. That's all it is. And that's what humanity is coming into. The psychological system of mind of thought through telepathy. All right. So we have a lot of work. Traction is coming in right now. Okay, so you can do it through your eye. You're going to see it through your eyes open. You're going to see it through your eyes closed. You're going to see it through sleeping. It's a 24 segment line system, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. This is what you guys are going to go through. Eyes awake or eyes asleep. Doesn't matter. You have to come more to the mind of thought. Okay, and that's how it's set up in the universal line system to its calculation. All right. All right, so yeah, I've done all your questions. You have any more questions? I'm just going to head over to TikTok. Okay, please DM me my TikTok if you have any questions. That's why I have the platform, is for you to click that. I put it up on my TikTok and answer your questions, okay? Because you guys have constant questions. That's why I have TikTok, and you can just press Q&A, and I'll answer them for you, especially if I'm not on. But I'm on every single day through the mind system. So it's all about understanding, where is your mind now? Plain and simple. Where are you in your thought? Where are you in your visualization? Where are you in your creation? Where are you in your manifestations? That alone is a maze. Now, the problem is, if you don't know how to count forward and backwards, that's a problem right there with the mind system. The conceptual mind system, 10, 9, 7? No. 10, 9, 4? No, wait. So you have to understand how to go backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, because that's what we live every day through the eagle line system. Until you understand that, you'll be in that position. Once you get out of that, then you come to your avatars of its eco, of its collaboration, to its communication, to its operation of perception, to its AI, its interference, to its connection of high levels of its vessel. Okay? Chain of command of you, chain of command inside you. Okay? This calculates and modifies all your line systems, especially when you come into the mind of thought. Okay? And again, with the box, don't see this. See what's inside first, and they come out. Inside out. So when you go inside out and you know outside in, then you can do anything. Right? And then you can count forward, and then you can count backwards. Right? Or you can stop in the middle and go forward. Or you go to a higher level. So it's all about using your alphabetical line system, starting over through positions, or using your connections to your digital line center. Go from 1 to 100 and 100 to 1. It all depends on how fast you're in relation to your connections, but you have to be in the calming center of the mind system. Okay? So, communication, Commander, can you explain channeling with higher self? Yeah, okay, I can do that to the web graphing board, digital line center, position locations. Your digital frame is everything connections, right? So channeling with the higher self. Be very basic. Now let's graph its condition. Let's go into board location. All right. So let's go into green line system of color. Okay, so it's understanding what you see. This is intelligence. It's all looks picture frames, line signals, graph positions, row graph line centers, GPS locations, line system, singularity line, trap locations, door recognition. This is a maze, but it's a piece of paper. You just concentrate how to draw things on a paper. I see everything through digital line of what it is through color. So it's very interesting to come across these things. All right, so the communication to higher self, okay, is all about understanding your astral travels, your dream set positions. That's the awakening location, right? Now, the heart recognition light system, when it opens up its portal, it comes into its reactive for the very first time to the four waving positions of the alpha, mega, micro, and macro. Okay? So you're in the position line center. You have to understand all levels of your flux capacitors. Okay, then it line channels to everything through its location. See? Everything is attached to positions, and it comes into its own shape position location. Its activation core system. Okay. So it's true to understand how to take these things always out of the equation. It's all about communication to the higher self, to channelized system, dimensional time location. See? It's all done through another shape, right? So you go through your point centers. Point centers are communication to the line system. Everything through point center has to have its lock connection. This will become to maze location line system. Also to the box level system, all point centers are located dimensional time location, right? And then you can channel to higher communication cycles, right? So it's incredible force how we travel through higher levels of activation of core centers to its location position. All right? This is all set up in space position, all through shapes. So the higher self is all about communicating with the vessel of the physical system, the physical line center, the astral travels, the astral projection. Astral projection is what you're seeing through space position. Okay. So to communicate, the best way I can explain it to you, Carla, is to understand you're all connected to your higher self every single day. And this is what it is. It's the connection of the maze, because the universal line system is nothing but a maze of you. It's all about you bringing forward yourself through time position and staying out of the past of its trap. That's what the trauma is once you break down the traumas, you move forward in a certain position to its connection. So is ego distracting, or is it some way helping? Ego is a distraction until you understand its position. Okay? But it's trying to understand what you can identify yourself through shape positions and what you're drawing through connection. This is all going forward, but look how powerful that is. Right? All through shapes. All right? So, and the thing is, too, it structures its system. This is all done through me traveling. That's all it is. That's all this is. So I travel through this, all shape positions, dimensional time connections of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9-dimensional time lock systems into box frequency level 2, its octagon or its hexagon location, right? That's how the polyphonical line connections of the maze is set up. It's a lot more tricky. So your eco line system has to understand its position, what it's doing, has to center line its connections. So the eagle line system has to stay in the center. If it's off the center, it's off track. It doesn't understand its position until it comes back in location, right? If it understands position, it comes into its angel location. See the angel? You see the angel. You see the wings. So this alone puts you in the center line system of its ego, which goes in its force rising system of going forward in its connection. It's all about you going forward through the mind of thought. That's all this is. Okay? So it's complicated if you don't understand the mind of the psychological line. It's confusing and it overlaps its connections. But truly understand, you can come to anything through its angel interference. Okay? It's a balance of ego with mystical, left and right brain. Yep. Yep. Jill's very informed in that connections. That's exactly what it is. The ecosystem has to truly understand you through the mind of thought. Okay? Because the ego plays in soul level systems. And this is what's going to happen with everybody. So the ego is going to try to keep you down as the mind and the thought is trying to move forward and try to go up and try to get out of these mazes and these doors and these frames and these levels of this board and this game that you're in position through the central line connections. So when you go into the awakening through me, you have to decentralize yourself before you go into the centralized. Okay, so you come in out of positions, understand more of yourself through the meridian. Okay, that's the connections. You saw the chest plates in that connection, how it enters its position to its channel. And that's where everybody's body looks like through its the human cycle to the meridian cycle, its meditation position. This is everybody through body attraction. That's what everybody's body looks like. Okay, see the shoulder blade. Let's understand what it is, right? So everything is set up through the human cycle and everything through its meridian to its meditation position. It's very powerful when you see these things, right? 3 waving cycles, 4 positions, 7 within rotation is the body track system to the center line system. The seat of the soul, the ground formation line, and everything through the ground chakra. Okay? So it's very powerful when you come in these positions of time location. The ego is the center of everything. The ego is the line of everything. The ego is the forward of everything. So the ego is your emotion. So the ego is the connections to the moon. It's your behavioral line system. And the sun is everything through your dreams. The sun is everything through reaction. The sun is everything through its radiation. The sun is everything through color, your pixels. The ego has to come in this communication of balanced location. Ego has to stay in the center every day to circle, to go forward in position. It has to go forward. So when it goes forward, everything else goes forward through the mind of thought, and the mind stays in the center of calm. Now, if the ego traps off, what happens? You're in the past. If you're everything through your connection geometric, if your geometrics is in past connections, you're coming into a lot of trouble. If your operation is going in back force, you're in a lot of trouble. So you have to get back in position to go back in the center line system. Then you can come back in your system, you come your tesseract or tetrahedrons to its location through shapes anomalies. Then you take everything out through its equal line system. You come into a shape position to a security line defense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-dimensional times going forward, position, location. All right. But that's all it is. Okay. So it's extremely amazing, isn't it, when you come to that position? So I'm going to head over to TikTok. Everybody, have a fantastic day. Adios.